Firstly, when the foundation showed that they are operating in this area, which they call urban core, I found the area in general interesting. I like this, the style of the longitudinal apartment houses, very traditional Taiwanese or Taipei, and also these back alleys, and it's a very rich urban community, and I like that feeling. When we came inside this house, it was it's like a horror, like horrible. Like horrible, of course, can be in so many ways, but how I felt is it was so strange because it looked like some sort of some voluntary jail. Like people have locked themselves into this chambers which were not connected to windows or anything, and like in this floor I don't know how many people been sleeping, maybe 30, and really packed. I believe university students, but still have to criticize a lot the landlords and also the students themselves that they accept that kind of living condition. So everything here was artificial. It's just like some bubble somewhere where people is living, and really weird and so disconnected from everything that at least for me is familiar with the human life, very alien. Well, the first workshop what we had in the Ruin Academy was open source of students. So they come from various disciplines: architecture, landscape architecture, environmental design, interior design, fine arts, sociology, and so forth. The first workshop was to transform this building into something what is in my mind ruin. And ruin means something man-made that has become part of nature. So we had to find strategies how to invite nature into this kind of urban situation, like this house. Well, then we started to make living conditions. Basically need light and water and topsoil. And then we started to test in different ways how you can do actually farms inside the house, how to use vegetation instead of window to give privacy. But also big part of the academy was to drill holes through the whole building. So that it can actually rain inside here. Opening up the whole closed box, that's the big start. And then when this possibility of nature to step in is given, it will of course happen. The ground floor where you are entering to the Ruin Academy, there's a connection to the basement that's been jackhammered away. I wanted to reach the original ground of Taipei. The city has built so many layers on top of the original ground that you don't sometimes even know where it is. For that we wanted to reach so that basically if this raining would continue and it would get enough sunlight, trees would start rooting from there. And somehow the trees together with this house would form some sort of an urban bonsai. Then you come to the floor that we are sitting here now. Here is some places for the students to work. They're also sleeping here, and then they have a small vegetable garden. You go to the third floor, and that's where I am sleeping. So there is a bed for me or some other visiting professor. There is also some bamboo gardens. Then you go to the fourth floor, and that's kind of a lounge when we have bigger talks or parties, so people usually gather there. In the fifth floor of the Ruin Academy we have a public sauna. Of course, sauna is a very typical element in Finnish life, but for me it also represents like the very ultimate step which a modern man can take in his daily life, to step into a condition that has been like thousands of years ago. And also, like, now we are in the heart of Taipei, so I wanted or required actually the students or these anarchist gardeners to take that step, you know, get naked, get into the sauna and basically let nature clean you. It's kind of a meditation, but it's same time a little bit like social meditation. We are there together. It's good, it cleans much more than the body. The second workshop was called Urban Acupuncture. The starting point for this workshop is the actual situation of Taipei city itself. It's a Western medicine of urban zoning or planning or design and making big moves and so on. So it won't be applied in here. I think in case of Taipei we can develop something more rich, and this is referring to some punctual interventions inside the city. Punctual interventions that could be compared to the Chinese medical theory of acupuncture. The second workshop was aiming to find out the methodologies and possibilities for that. When we did that in cooperation with architecture schools and sociology universities, so it was very much based on field studies. So the people and teams were out on the city, and they found out that actually this urban acupuncture is happening in Taipei already. It is unofficial, but it's everywhere. In street corners and abandoned construction sites, citizens are overtaking them. Grandmothers are overtaking these gardens or places and turning them into urban farms and community gardens. And while doing this, they are all the time tuning the mechanical city towards the organic. I see there is a very big potential to learn from this local knowledge. Taipei is basically an urbanized river basin. There is several river comings from the mountains in three sides and gathering up into the great Danshui River, which then drains into the Pacific Ocean. The new layer, the human-made layer on top of this basically river nature is causing pollution. The whole nature has changed. There is a lot of sedimented pollution in the river and the pollution keeps coming. So in this urban development, nature seems to be a loser. For me it also reflects like how healthy the city is how healthy the river is. It's very clear to see. And when these students from Aalto University, SGT, Sustainable Global Technology Center, they came here to cooperate with the Taiwanese students, so then we were able to build up a multidisciplinary research and design force that could actually start tackling those problems of the urbanized river nature. We were invited to the Taipei city government for the different disciplines and departments inside there. The river department, the hydraulics department, urban design, urban development, and so forth. So we could have their point of view, like what's going on with the river and what could be done. So far we've been only talking about more like academic ways, how to run a university and research and so on. But that's nothing compared to the local knowledge. You see, very spontaneous community gardening and urban farming is happening. And still on these polluted rivers, there is the old fisherman communities, they are grandfathers now, but still they remember how the river was. They've been fishing there all their lives. So they, with their own body, they have witnessed the change of a river from clean, drinkable water into a polluted river. They know like every hole inside the river and how it has been changing. And it's not a fiction. Like for young generations in Taipei, like the river is only a fiction. It's just some picture there, but really remote. But all this local knowledge, what we faced, so they all just witnessed and told to us that they know the clean river. They have been living with the clean river. And it's not a fiction. The fiction is here, inside the city. Yeah, it's very interesting. Because like I think, like roughly speaking, so it looks like people is divided. You know, some people are closer to nature, even inside Taipei, and it is possible, even inside a city. And then majority of the people is completely disconnected from nature, and this disconnection is the source of pollution. The first generation city, or the original settlement of the humans who came to Taipei and chose this place for their life, is because of nature. This is a very fruitful valley, river valley, and because the river has been so rich and this floodplains has been so good for farming, a bigger society or community has been able to be established here because of nature. Also, the nature has provided this community the means of transportation. The river has been used for boats and getting to Pacific Ocean and trade. Also, the mountains have been protecting this community or society in this valley from the biggest hits of typhoons. So the city is here because of nature. That's the reason why city is here, and that is the first generation city when the human settlement is completely dependent on nature and in straight interaction with every step that it's taking is with nature. Then came the other reality, what you are referring to, and that's the industrial city. Industrialism basically claims independence from nature. Human believes that he has gained a level where nature is no longer needed. We have a mechanical reality. We create our own nature. This independence from nature, the industrial city, that is what is causing all these problems of pollution and disconnection of human nature from nature, and it's all because of the industrial independence, so to say. And I want to break that independence. We need revolution. Industrialism must be changed. It must take another step. It must be intelligent enough to become organic. Somehow the city must become an organic machine, and we have to find the ways how to do it. Nature will break it anyway, but it's just the question that, are we part of the nature who is breaking the city by our own means, or will we just wait? This is the first time that the Ruin Academy is like up in one-to-one scale. During this 1 year, through the cooperation between the local universities and then the Aalto University, we have already gained a new way of looking at the problems what comes to architecture, urban design and environmental design. The thing what we have found out through Ruin Academy is the multidisciplinary cooperation. That is the way how to gain new knowledge. What has been highly important is that we have not been like locked inside here, which is very typical for a university, but the students and researchers been doing field work all the time and have been able to establish an interface to the local knowledge. And then the Ruin Academy is somehow trying to interpret what the local knowledge is transmitting, sort of collective mind of the local knowledge is transmitting, and how to react on that knowledge by means of multidisciplinary design. The aim of the Ruin Academy is to build up a design methodology for something which is called third generation city. Right now, Taipei is representing the industrial city or mechanical city, but we want to change the mechanical city into an organic machine, which is somehow becoming part of nature. But we have to find out the ways how to do that, and this is what Ruin Academy is researching for.